All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Friday live stream. Glad to have you here. Let's see. Today is Friday, August 6th, and our topic today is premium streaming devices. So the reason for this is I've been doing a lot of videos lately on budget streaming devices because, that's kind of what I like to concentrate on. Hey, I'm there for the everyman, right? We can't all afford premium streaming devices. But you know what? It's a topic worth exploring. Is a premium streaming device worth the extra money, right? So we're going to get into all of that in just a moment. First, let's go ahead and just remind everybody to go to reviews.org/giveaways. Right there. Oops, let's turn off that AC. There we go. Go to reviews.org/giveaways and enter into the giveaways there. Welcome to everybody in the comments. Let's see, we've got a few people popping into the comments already. Anyway, hope you go to reviews.org/giveaways. Last week, we did a giveaway for, it was, geez, I need to turn off all my sounds here. We did a giveaway for the Wisecam 3. Now, the Wisecam 3, I'll announce this a little bit later in the stream as well, in case this person hasn't had a chance to join the stream yet. I see there's really only a few of us at this point. But Amneris Rivera, I'm hoping I'm saying that right. Amneris Rivera is the winner of the Wisecam 3. So congratulations, Amneris Rivera. You'll be receiving an email soon. We'll get that thing sent out to you as soon as possible. And this week, oh boy, you guys, it's so cool. So let me see if I can pull this up here. In fact, I'm going to go to reviews.org/giveaways. And okay, so it hasn't quite been updated yet, but I have been told that this week it's going to be a Disney Plus annual subscription. So that's pretty sweet. Even if you already have Disney Plus, don't worry about it because we're supplementing that. So even if you already have Disney Plus, go ahead and make sure you enter for that. All right, so let's just dip into the comments for a moment, and then we'll get into our topic today, which is the premium streaming devices. All right, so let's see. Narissa, Shoaib, Eduardo, hello. Jaden, I have not watched. I watched the first Suicide Squad movie, but not the new one. Let's see. Hello from Florida, says Joe. On vacation on the West Coast. Hey, very nice. Oh, wait. On vacation, what? From the West Coast to Florida? Right. I'm going to be in Florida on Tuesday. So I'll see you there. Hello, Sylvia, Steve, Ryan, Jeff. Glad to have you all here. Okay. So now that we are ready to go, let's West Coast, Best Coast, says Shoaib. That's where I grew up. So I try not to be, angry about it, but I do like the West Coast. All right. So Eduardo, hello from Mexico. He said your channel is awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you. We do tend to be US centric just because we can't cover the whole world, but I hope you still find some stuff that's really useful, helpful to you. Appreciate having you here. That's fantastic. All right, so it is live stream time. Let's get started on this. Today, premium streaming devices, or as I call it, premium streaming. Now, when we talk about premium streaming devices, we're going to be concentrating on these four here: the Nvidia Shield, the Roku Ultra, the Fire TV Cube, and the Apple TV 4K. There may be some other devices to throw into this list, but I couldn't think of any off the top of my head. So we're sticking with these four: the Nvidia Shield, the Roku Ultra, the Apple TV 4K, and the Fire TV Cube. Now, when you get a premium streaming device, you can expect a few things from it, versus a budget streaming device just right off the bat. Okay. So I've got a few of these things listed here: Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos, Ethernet, USB connectivity. So, and we'll talk more about USB in just a moment, because that's technically, this one, and TV controls. This one it's kind of obvious, but also not necessarily. Like some of the budget devices don't necessarily have TV controls. Many of them do, but it's not quite standard on the budget devices. But on these premium devices, it absolutely is. So let me know if I missed anything on this list of things you should expect from a premium device. Okay, so Shoaib, let's see, right off the bat, says you didn't include Chromecast. No, I didn't. I did not include Chromecast for two reasons. First of all, Chromecast, so my definition, you may have a different one, but my working definition, oh, here comes the bombing run from the Air Force. See if you guys can hear that. My definition of a budget streaming device is something that is $50 or less. Okay, and then if it's over $50, it may not necessarily get into premium territory, but probably will if you're over $50 for a streaming device. The Chromecast retails at $50. So yeah, I am counting it as a budget device. It doesn't have the same things right here, you know. I mean, technically, yes, you can get a splitter, you can do this and that, but it doesn't really come with Ethernet capabilities or USB. It does have TV controls and Dolby, if I recall correctly. I believe that one does Dolby. But anyway, so that's why I did not leave that one, or that's why I didn't keep that one on there. I was looking for Antarctican streaming services. Okay. Unfortunately, we don't cover that. So, all right. Central Florida from Gerard. Hello, Gerard. I'm going to be in Miami on Tuesday, so not quite Central Florida. All right. So yeah. Anyway, as I was saying, this is kind of what we can expect from a premium device. Now, the point of all this, like I said just a moment ago, is to decide as a group. I am curious to get your reactions to this. I want to hear what you have to say. Like I said a week or two ago, one of the reasons I love doing these live streams is that it gives me a chance to interact with you live, so that I can kind of get a sense of where you guys are at, not just where I'm at. So is a premium device worth it? So for instance, the Roku Ultra goes for, you know, the price fluctuates. I think it started out at $100, but now it usually retails for about $80. And so is it worth the $30 jump from the Streaming Stick Plus, or the $50 jump from the Roku Express 4K Plus? The Fire TV Cube, $120. Is it worth the jump to or from the Fire Stick 4K, which is $50? You know, that's quite a jump. And then obviously with these other two, yeah, we'll get there. We'll talk about the price jumps. So okay, so this Pepe, I'm going to go with Hernandez. I don't know. Says 0 to 50 budget, 51 to 80 mid range, 81 plus premium. You know, I feel like that's a reasonable way to put it. So let's see, Joe, if you live just outside Miami, then shoot me some recommendations. I'm only going to be there for a layover, but it's like a 10-hour layover. So I'm going to pop over into Miami for a minute and then come back to the airport. But if you got any restaurant recommendations or something, let me know. That'd be great. Okay. Anyway, Pepe gives us a good range there. So yeah, we're talking about premium devices today. All right. So let's get to our first one. First one, the Nvidia Shield Pro. Now, there are two versions of the Nvidia Shield, but I went with the top tier because what we want to talk about today is the absolute best of the best. What is the highest top of the line device that this company offers, right? And so for Nvidia, it's the Nvidia Shield Pro. The other one, the regular Nvidia Shield, the device, the remote looks about the same, but the device looks like a cigar case, kind of. So it's kind of this cylindrical device, and it doesn't have quite the same specs as the Nvidia Shield Pro. It used to be that this model, or the one that looked like it back in 2017, I want to say, or was it the 2015 model that came with a controller, a game controller, that felt a little bit like an Xbox or a PlayStation controller or something. Anyway, it no longer does that. You can still buy that as an add-on, but this one goes for $200. So this is really top of the line. And here's what it comes with. So we're going to get into what these specs mean in a moment. We're going to be comparing them across devices, but the Nvidia Shield Pro has the best processor that we're going to see in these premium devices. And this matters. Okay, so if you haven't seen it yet, go onto the channel, go onto Reviews.org. In fact, let me see if I can pull up the video right here. In fact, I know I can. Okay, so if you haven't seen it yet, then go check out the video that I did this week on, whoa, that's so loud. Here we go. On why you should always get a 4K device. Okay, so this will come into play here. So let's see, where do I wanted to pull up something for you guys. Oh yeah, okay. So when we're talking about CPU performance, that sort of thing, this is from the video that I released this week. I was talking more about budget devices, why you should always get the 4K version of the budget devices. But really, it comes down to the CPU and the RAM. They matter. And they matter on like a day-to-day, click-by-click, load-by-load basis. Because the better your CPU and the better your RAM, the combination of those two will make your device feel and be faster. Okay, so that's why we bring up something like CPU and RAM. So if you haven't seen this video yet, I highly encourage you to go watch it. It's just kind of a good basic overview of why I say the lowest tier version of something you probably shouldn't get. Oh, who's that handsome devil? Okay. Anyway, so that's where that comes from. All right, so if we pull this back up now, we've got the Nvidia Shield Pro with the best processor in any streaming device that I know of. I haven't done a head-to-head with this and the Apple TV 4K's processor, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this one has crazy good performance. Okay, and 3 gigs of RAM. That's pretty big. So the USB, now I'm pushing this one here on this screen, even though I said USB capability should be standard across all of them, but it's not going to be quite the same across devices. So now we go look at the Roku Ultra. Yes, it also has USB. One thing that's weird about the Roku Ultra is that they have never specified, as far as I could find, on a Google search, and I've asked, I've Googled, I've tried to find it. Nobody knows how much internal storage a Roku Ultra actually has. So I think the previous version was 16 gigs, and they say that they upped it from that, but they didn't say to how much. So it's tough to say. Now, as far as the processor and RAM, so 2 gigs of RAM, obviously that's less than 3 gigs over on the Shield Pro, and the ARM Cortex A55. This one it's an older processor. This one is not top of the line. It's fine, but let's see, do they have a 59 yet? I know they've got a Cortex A57. But this one, it's fine, and with 2 gigs of RAM, that's fine. And with the thing about Roku is with its really stripped down, easy to navigate interface. The interface on Roku is so simple that it just doesn't take as much computing power as, say, Google TV does. So we were talking about the Chromecast a moment ago. We're not going to be talking about the Chromecast really much today, except to say that it has a very robust interface, a very robust user interface there. So yeah, it takes more computing power. This one is going to go much more smoothly on less. So it doesn't really concern me there. But this price point, $80, we should probably call that out, and we will in just a moment. But yeah, less than $200. That's for darn sure. Okay, Apple TV 4K. Like I said, I haven't done a head-to-head on the A12 Bionic versus the one from the Nvidia Shield Pro, the Tegra X1 Plus. But it is a step up from the previous version that Apple had in the previous Apple TV 4K. They also have 3 gigs of RAM. So this is a quick device. So like I said earlier, it's going to matter on a day-to-day click-by-click basis because, as I've said in lots of videos, when you've got your remote, I don't have my Apple TV Plus remote around, but when you've got your remote, every time you click the button and move to the next box, or you're trying to type something, you're trying to put in your email address, click, Every time you do that with a fast device, you're going to notice barely any latency at all, if any, right? So with something as quick as the Nvidia Shield or with the Apple TV, it's almost like it's reading your mind, right? The millisecond you press that button, it's moving on the screen. With a cheaper device or a slower device, then every time you click, you get a quarter-second delay, a half-second delay, a three-quarter-second delay. I've had some that have been so egregious that it's almost unusable. The old version of the Roku Express was, in my mind, almost unusable because of how long it took just to click the dang remote. And then we get into loading up apps, right? And different apps are going to behave differently. HBO Max is a very robust app versus, something more stripped down. Gosh, now I'm trying to think of like a really, really simple app. Netflix is fairly simple. It has pretty quick load times compared to others. So yeah, Hulu has pretty quick load times. Anyway, so yeah, depending on the app, that's what that speed is going to do for you. All right. We've got that one. Oh yeah, coming in at $200. Now that's the thing. The storage, there is a 32 gig version of the Apple TV 4K, and it usually goes for $170. But like I said, we're going for top of the line here. What's the best that you can get from these companies? So the Apple TV 4K. There are your basic specs. And then lastly, we've got the Fire TV Cube. So this one kind of comes in between those two. It's not quite as cheap as the $80 device, but it's definitely not a $200 device either. Now this one is a little bit of it's an interesting case. Okay, so the processor on the Fire TV Cube, it actually has two processors. One is the one is the quad core, one is the dual core. Now, the reason for this is because it has, oh gosh, I don't want to say her name, Miss Echo, integrated into the device as well. And so it's a bit like having a Fire Stick 4K plus an Echo Dot in one. Okay, so the dual core, I believe it's the dual core processor, is taking care of those background functions. The fact that she, whose name we shall not mention for fear that she'll turn off my lights or something, she's always listening. And that's why, because you've got the dual core processor plus the quad core handling the other computing. 2 gigs of RAM, again, not quite the same as the 3 that we've had on a couple of those devices, but it is as much as you would get with the Roku. Storage is only 16 gigs, which it's going to be enough if you are just using this to stream. You got your basic, your Netflix, Hulu, Prime Video, Disney Plus, whatever. It's going to be just fine for that. If you are using your Fire TV Cube for anything else, you're loading games on here, for instance, then you could run out of storage somewhat quickly. But it does have a USB adapter, which we'll talk about in a moment. So with all of these, you can upgrade the storage to a certain extent. Can you do that with the Roku Ultra? You can use the USB for that, as far as I know. Okay, so good. With those four, what I'm curious about, before we get to I've got one final slide where we'll kind of compare all of those specs and stats, but I am curious to hear what you guys have to say about these 4 devices. If you use them, what your experience is with them, whether you recommend them to people, or, if you've got a Fire TV Cube, do you usually just say, just get the stick? The stick is fine. Don't worry about it. If you do that with the Nvidia Shield, like, hey, it's $200, just go get an Android TV device for, 30, 40, $50, whatever. Yeah. Miss Echo. See, yeah, she's right. Yeah, right there. If I say anything, she'll hear me. And then who knows? I've got everything in this studio rigged up. And so it could be a disaster if I accidentally say her name. Okay. Let's see what you guys are saying. So, okay, this is interesting. Dolby Atmos and Vision seem more like mid-tier features to me. Yes, I agree with you. These, so I put these on the list. If I can go back, as I was saying before, it's kind of like these are the things that any premium device is going to come with. And so, yeah, these seem more like mid-tier features. Yes, the reason I put it on here is because when you get a lower tier device, you're not necessarily guaranteed to get those things, right? And so you don't you don't necessarily know for sure. But with a premium device, you know that it's going to come with that. So if that makes sense, yeah, they are mid-tier features, but they're kind of guaranteed on a premium device. So that's why I listed those. Sorry, I missed that a little while ago. All right. So, okay, here we go. Shoaib says, I linked my Fire Stick with my new Echo Dot to play sound, but every time I'm watching TV, at some point they freeze and I get static noise from the Dot. Ooh, ouch. Well, that's interesting. I have not had that problem myself, but I could see that, where this is the smart home technology. It's not like smart home technology isn't, how do we put it, super well established yet, right? It's been around for 10 years, a little bit less maybe for most smart home things, but 10 years isn't enough time for most tech to mature, and so we're still waiting on that. And I assume Echo is one of those things. As we go, give it another decade or so, it'll mature and act much better. But that's interesting that you had that problem. All right. So Ryan says the Fire TV Stick 4K needs an upgrade. Now the new standard Fire Stick is better than the 4K. Well, I don't know about that. It may have some specs that are better, but my experience with the new Fire Stick is that it still lagged just a little bit speed-wise behind the 4K. But no, I mean, I'm with you on the first part. The 4K stick needs an upgrade. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Oh, I know I missed something. Oh, yeah. So Michael says another big reason to get the 4K version is if you upgrade your TV to 4K, you're all set. Yeah, you're future proofing, they call it, right? So yeah, that's a good one. All right. So Wi-Fi on the non-stick devices are so much better. So yeah, on that video that I released earlier this week, I mentioned this. So if you're a longtime viewer of these live streams, then you remember when I had Jared Newman on a couple weeks ago. He's a columnist for Tech Hive. He's got a great weekly newsletter. I got one this morning. It's fantastic. Go Google his name, Jared Newman, and sign up for that. And his theory is, and I mean, I don't know if it's his, but it's the one that he brought up in his column sometime earlier this year, is that basically because it's a box shape, you can see those boxes there, there's more room inside this box to optimize antenna placement, or even just have a longer antenna, right, to pick up signal better, versus a stick where you've got much less space to do that. Somebody else in the comments to that video brought up another theory, which is that the stick devices go right behind your TV, which is not only a physical barrier, but also an electronic barrier as well, where you got all sorts of stuff happening between the signal and the device that could be interfering as well, versus, a desktop or tabletop device like this is out from behind the TV. And yeah, so that makes a lot of sense to me. I'm sure it's a combination of the two things. So, okay. Oh, okay. Jonathan just bought my second Shield. Wow. Okay. So you've got the brand new version. That's fantastic. I hope you like it. Okay. All right. So Frayden says Apple TV 4K gives you the most bang for your buck, but man, it's a lot of buck if you're not already invested in Apple. And even if you are, let's be honest, $200 for 64 gig storage on the Apple TV 4K. That's the thing is, it's a lot of bang for your buck to get into the Apple ecosystem. All right. So yeah, okay. So if you're using the lower tier Roku stick, Andrea. So Apple TV versus a lower tier Roku stick, yeah, that is a huge jump in performance. You'll probably notice less of a jump in speed if you go from the Roku Ultra to the Apple TV 4K. Still probably a little jump in speed, but yeah, a lower tier Roku stick, a non 4K Roku device versus the Apple TV 4K, it's not even gonna, not really gonna do so well. Okay. So yeah, Pepe says the best one is the Chromecast. Well, it's not on our list because it's not a premium device. So, okay. Imagine if Amazon started using the tagline, "She's alive." Okay. So I've wondered about this because my Chromecast last night, I was just checking on it, kind of felt behind the TV, and it was really heating up. Oh, that's right. I mentioned earlier, I had two reasons that I wasn't talking about the Chromecast here. And the second one is that I'm a little bit angry at my Chromecast. I love that device. It has become my daily driver. In fact, I've got a Roku TV right over my shoulder here, but I've got the Chromecast plugged into it, and I usually turn on the Roku TV and flip over to the Chromecast. But last night it froze and then reset twice while I was trying to watch Ted Lasso. And so it just kind of just crapped out. So I was back there checking it, and it was pretty warm. I don't know if that was the issue with overheating, but yeah, I've seen it. So it's not a bad call. All right, so let's go to our comparison of all of these devices now. Where's my page? There's my page. All right. So if we look, oh no, all the images got messed up, but that's okay. We'll just pretend that they all line up really, really well. So we've got, these are the same things that we showed on the previous screens. But now we can see kind of clearly what the comparison is. And I kind of put this in there just because there are things about each of these devices that the others don't have. So obviously Alexa integration is a huge thing. And obviously, if you don't want to pay $200 for a premium device, $80 is a lot more attractive, right? The Nvidia Shield has a lot going for it outside of gaming, but that's where it really shines. If you're a gamer, especially if you're a PC gamer who can get an Nvidia chip to play really nicely with the Nvidia, or I should say graphics card, an Nvidia graphics card in your PC that plays nice with the Nvidia Shield, and you can screen share and do lots of streaming stuff. You know, if you're a Twitch streamer or something like that, it's really, really cool for that. So somebody already brought it up just a moment ago with the Apple ecosystem. You know, the Apple TV 4K is awesome if you're in the Apple ecosystem, and yeah, I mean, pretty clearly that's going to be a thing. So, so Sylvia says, I saw your tweet. Yeah, well, yeah, and then I like the response from Chromecast tech support. Yeah, it's clearly like this isn't a tech support issue. So that was I kind of played it out just to see what they would say. I was like, all right, you want to know what I was doing? I'll tell you what I was doing. But then it was just a very standard, like, did you try turning it off and turning it back on? Maybe you should do that. And I was like, well, no, that's not the problem here. So, okay. So here we go. We do still have a question mark on the Roku Ultra with, how much storage space it has. But interestingly, the Nvidia Shield only has 16 gigs of onboard storage for $200, versus 64 on the Apple TV Plus or Apple TV 4K for $200. So right there, if you're somebody who is going to load a lot of stuff on your device, if you're going to download movies on there, which would take up 64 gigs real quick. But, if you're going to put movies or shows, if you're going to download games, then that 64 gigs might come in handy. And then again, 16 gigs down here. Now, interestingly, when it comes to the storage issue, which is an issue, especially on certain devices, the Chromecast is a big deal with this. A lot of Roku devices have storage issues sometimes. But with these, having the USB onboard port is a big deal, because then you can, some devices use they used to use micro SD. I don't think any of these use micro SD anymore. Maybe the Nvidia, but I didn't look, honestly. But they all have onboard USB, so you can extend the storage. You can, in fact, use it for, you get a dang hard drive, right? You put a terabyte hard drive on there. You've got all the storage you could ever want. But then we get down to these two. So the Apple TV 4K uses USB-C, which for many of us is going to be just fine. You know, USB-C, I wish that were the absolute standard across every device forever into infinity. But Apple doesn't even use it on their freaking iPads yet, which... whatever, don't get me started. USB-C on here. Anyway, my point being, while USB-C might be the best, it's faster, it's more compatible across devices, et cetera, et cetera. It's not quite standard yet. And so you might have a little more trouble finding, a hard drive or an adapter or whatever to use for this. So just something to keep in mind. And then the Fire TV 4K does not have onboard USB. They do have a device where you plug it in and then it gives you it gives you USB access. But yeah, it's a little bit different. Okay, so there we go. Premium streaming devices. So what I'm curious about now is for you guys to tell me what you think about all this. So I'm going to pop in to one more page and do just a little straw poll. And I'm curious whether you have used these premium devices or not. Okay, so either way, stick with me for just a moment. Let's see. Let's say, is a premium streaming device worth an extra $100? Okay, so that's I'm trying to round to about what we would see. $100. Okay, so on average, you'd probably pay about $100 extra. So pop over to this straw poll website. I just put the link in the chat, and we'll see what you all have to say about this. Okay, so okay, Armetta says nope. Okay, well there you go. Frayden asks, this is good. While we're waiting for results to come in, is it the same RAM size on the 32 gig Apple TV 4K as the 64 gig one? Yes, it is. The devices are, as far as I know, exactly the same except for the storage capacity. So that's, it's another thing to ask yourself. Do I really need 32 gigs for an extra $30? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Okay, so most of you are so far saying no, it is not. That was weird. Sorry about that, everybody. I hit the wrong button at the wrong time. I hope. Yeah, okay, good. Looks like we're still going. Sorry about that. So some of you are saying nope, absolutely not. Okay, good. Yeah, you lost me, but I'm back. Don't worry. I would never leave you permanently. I'm not going to do that. Okay, with 14 votes coming in, we've got yeah, most of you are saying no. It's not worth an extra $100, and some of them, you might be paying an extra 150. Some of them, it might be only an extra $50 or $30 or whatever. But yeah, for that middle number, is it worth an extra $100 for these features? Most of you are saying no. Just double checking. Okay, yeah. So yeah, Frayden, good question. As far as I know, they're exactly the same. Other than that, okay. So sarcastic, which makes me wonder, do you really mean what you're saying here? There's no way to know for sure. Says overall, Apple TV 4K is so ahead of the streaming service. It's super snappy. Yeah, the refresh rates are great. Supports Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos, 120 hertz. Controller is super easy to use. Okay. Now we get into what I think is the single greatest upgrade for the Apple TV 4K has got to be the remote. The old remote, which is around here somewhere. I don't know where I put it. It's awful. It's garbage. That old remote was just terrible. The new remote is a big upgrade. So Yeah, I do like the new remote. Okay, anyway, let's see if there are any more votes coming in for this one. Give you guys one more shot, but yeah, it kind of looks like the no's have it so far. So Russell says less aggravation for, I assume you mean non-techie, like, not so techie people. What has less aggravation? The premium devices or the non-premium devices? What's the less aggravation that you're talking about here? I'm curious to know. All right. So while we're waiting to see if there are any other questions or any other votes coming in, yeah, it looks like we're done with the voting. It's a pretty strong win for the no's. Let me just remind you all. Go to, yeah, it is updated. All right. Hurrah. Go to reviews.org/giveaways. It's right up there on the top of the screen. Yeah, up above me. Go to reviews.org/giveaways. Make sure you enter for next week or this week's giveaway, whatever. It's going to be a Disney Plus subscription, a 1-year Disney Plus subscription. So you just go in. If you're using it on Chrome and you've got you're logged in, then it's really easy to fill out. It just kind of does it all for you. We had to switch forms. It used to be a different form, but this one it's not as clean looking, but it's easier. I think it's incredibly easy to get entered. So please go do that. Yes, Freyden, Disney Plus for a year. Yeah, I've got it right. The ticker at the bottom of the screen right there. It says enter to win a 1-year Disney Plus subscription. There it is. Ooh, this is fun. See, streaming is fun, you guys. So yeah, that's the giveaway this week. That's what is that? It's an $80 value now. I think that's pretty good. That's a pretty good giveaway prize. Now, when you go over there, you enter the giveaway. Keep in mind, usually I announce the winner a week later. However, for this one, I'm going to be on vacation. I'm taking my wife on vacation, and so I'm going to be out next week. So I will not be here. I believe I should be back for 2 weeks from this Friday. So I'll announce the winner at that point. So if you do enter and you don't hear anything next week, don't be alarmed. Everything is going according to plan. So no worries there. Okay. Trying to think if there's, let's, okay, now that we've said that, let's get rid of that. I'm going to go ahead and probably call this one a little bit early today, unless you guys have any other questions or comments that you would like me to address. I'm happy to do a few more, but yeah, I think this was good. I got a pretty good idea of what you guys think about premium devices, and hopefully this was kind of informative for those who don't know a ton about them. Although now that we're done kind of talking about the premium streaming devices, what I wish I had and what I might create for a future live stream or maybe a future video is just a comparison chart on the premium devices versus the budget devices. How much better are they really? So when we're talking about, well, I mean, I can tell you a little bit right off the top of my head. In fact, let's fix this page while I'm here. Okay, there we go. So if we're looking at this page, if you guys want to put on any more questions, that's fine. I'll come back to those in just a moment. But I can tell you that, like, especially the processor and the RAM, those are going to be a big deal. So this is the same processor that's in the new Roku Express 4K Plus, but it only has 1 gig of RAM. I can tell you that most Android TV boxes, they're not going to come close to this on the processor. Like the On box, the Walmart streaming devices, they've got a much lower grade processor, obviously, but the RAM on this, let's see, what do they have? Is it 1 and 1.5 gigs on those? Apple, that they don't do budget streaming devices, so never mind. But the Fire Stick 4K, I think the Fire Stick does 2 gigs of RAM and just a quad core processor. So yeah, anyway, I think if I do this again, I'll take this chart and do a comparison chart with the budget devices so that we can more easily see what the differences are. Okay. why did you not put the stream bar in this Q&A? Great question. So AVR asks, why did I not put the stream bar in this Q&A? Because with a device like that, it's a specialty device. So the stream bar, it's not, how do I put this? The specs for, as a streaming device, the specs on the stream bar are not to the level, to the premium level that we would see with these other premium streaming devices. It's, this is the wrong word, so I hope Roku will forgive me for using it, but it's a gimmick device. It's not a gimmick device, it's a specialty device, right? It's a stream bar that also does your, that runs your Netflix and whatnot. And I would also put like this Roku TV, I would put that under the same category. Why don't I put Roku TVs on there? Well, because they're just in a different category. It's not a streaming device first and foremost. It's a TV, or it's a sound bar with the streaming stuff added on extra. So that's why I don't put those in there. Let's see, Sylvia. Have you heard about anyone having issues with logging into Disney Plus? I haven't. I wonder, I suspect that on big premiere days, that might be more of an issue, like when the first episode of Loki came out, or probably not Cruella, because I don't think anybody watched that. But yeah, so no, I haven't heard about that, but I'll keep my ears to the ground. Okay, so how do I get Disney Plus for free? Let's see. You go to there it is, reviews.org/giveaways, enter, and your name might get picked out of the hat. So it's no guarantee, but it could happen. All right. Let's see. We've had some good questions. What kind of food am I looking for in Miami? I don't know. What kind of food is there in Miami? For those of you who missed it, I'm going to be in Miami next week just for a day. So let's see. In my opinion, the better performance is worth the price, as says Eduardo. And yeah, that's going to be, I think that's totally reasonable. Some people are going to say, no, it's not. Others are going to say, yeah, it is. For me, I might say, like, the big qualification for me in my mind is, how often do you use the device? So as I was saying, I was responding to a comment on this week's video, and somebody asked if the Roku Ultra was worth it. And basically my response is it your primary TV? Are you on it every day? Are you, do you use it more than just a little bit? If so, then it's probably worth the jump from the Streaming Stick Plus, which is $50, up to the Ultra, which is $80. But if it's, if you've got a few TVs around the house, my dad's got a little workshop out in the garage, and he might have a TV out there and wants to put a streaming device out there, but he's not out there every day. He's not sitting down clicking and whatnot. He's kind of just got it out there for the noise, right? Just get the Express 4K Plus, $30, throw it on there. It's going to be just fine. Save your money. So that's my take on that question, is whether performance is more important than price. It's whether it's your daily driver. Let's see, Adrian, you're welcome. Glad that you enjoy these. Hopefully with the live streams, the goal, of course, is to not only be informative, but also to have fun with you guys and to interact. So I hope that people enjoy these. Okay. Do I think that Apple TV Plus will lose a lot of subscribers after the free subscriptions? I wonder what that means to overall Apple TV Plus. Well, first of all, those free subscriptions are already ending in droves, and Apple is not releasing super clear numbers on how many subscribers, they'll tell you how many people are using the app, but they won't tell you how many of them are paying subscribers and how many of them got it for free with the device or whatever. But anecdotally, it sounds like a lot of people are leaving their Apple TV Plus subscriptions, which is, in my opinion, too bad. I think it's the single most underrated streaming service out there. Luckily, they've got a huge hit on their hands with Ted Lasso. I hope that brings people in and people can see how good Apple TV Plus is. But that's just me. What do I think it means for the future of Apple TV Plus? I don't know. Apple has sunk a lot of cost into Apple TV Plus, so hopefully they continue with that investment. Yeah. Okay. Do you know why most major TV brands choose not to go with Roku TV? I mean, I'm not in their boardrooms, so the answer is no. The answer is no, comma, but you can probably make some guesses. So you get Samsung and LG. I think LG runs on an Android TV platform, if I'm remembering right. Samsung has their own proprietary user interface, and so. Oh, interesting. Sorry, Frayden, I'll get there in just a second. Anyway, so they've already got their own proprietary things where they don't have to pay somebody else. So Samsung's a huge, rich company, right? They've got resources to develop their own interface and put it on their own TVs. You take something like TCL or what's the other? Sorry. Well, let's just. Brand names are escaping my memory for a moment, but just take TCL. TCL wanted to break into the US TV market, and they weren't that big a company. They didn't have a ton of money to throw at development for something like this, and so they just go to Roku and say, "Hey, we'll license your platform and put it on there. It's good for Roku because you're going to get on these cheap TVs that people are going to love." And it's good for TCL because, hey, it's a platform that is relatively popular and familiar. And so, it's attractive for two smaller companies to join forces than it is for, say, a giant like Samsung to go to Roku and be like, hey, let's put it on there. That being said, so why are they not going with Roku TV? Well, yeah, that's right. That's the other thing I was going to say. Sony's 2020 TVs, 2021. I think they had some on last year's models, but this year's models of Sony TVs, there's a couple of them with Google TV integrated. And so why did they not go with Roku TV? Well, probably because Roku has some exclusive agreements and also I think it has a reputation as being a very simple. It's the Honda of streaming services or streaming devices, interfaces, whatever. Whereas Google TV is a little newer, slicker, shinier, and so Sony, it kind of has that same that same vibe, reputation as a brand. They probably just felt that matched up a little bit better. Which makes sense to me. Anyway, okay. Frayden says, didn't you just mention how you're mad at your Chromecast? My coworker just said her Chromecast has been acting up all day. What is going on with Chromecast? If they don't, they need to roll out some kind of patch because, yeah, it was rough yesterday. I used it a little bit this morning, didn't have any issues, so hopefully I continue not to. Kim says, Cuban food in Miami. Hey, that's what I'm leaning towards, certainly. Roku Ultra, when it comes to price to performance, yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. I usually don't recommend the Nvidia Shield unless somebody is going to really use it because of that price tag. And it's the same thing with the Apple TV 4K. It's just like that's a lot of money to pay unless you are really into the Apple ecosystem. If you are, then great, it integrates really well, but otherwise skip it. So yeah, usually that's what I say is the Roku Ultra. I kind of agree with you on that one, Joe. Okay. Have I ever had Wi-Fi connection issues on the new Chromecast? I have not. So far, it has performed admirably in that department. So yeah, no issues. Although I will say it's my Chromecast is only 15 feet away from my router node. So if you're a couple rooms away or something, I could see how that would be an issue. Okay. Let's see, binge Ted Lasso and For All Mankind. You know, I'm halfway through season 2 of For All Mankind. It's kind of lost me. I loved season 1, and season 2 is kind of, it's been a snooze so far comparatively. Okay, have I done any reviews on HDMI switchers and splitters? Got 5 HDMI recently and loving mine. I haven't actually. It's something that I haven't been concentrating on, but you know what? That's a great reminder that I should probably do more with what am I trying to say? Accessories, add-ons to, you know, when I'm doing these reviews. So yeah, if you guys I'll try to write this one down, but if you have any other suggestions, then when this video is live or maybe on one of my other videos, whatever, just go into the comments. They're much easier for me to find if you put them in the comments versus the chat. Chat. Comments, yeah, they're easier to scroll through after the fact. So if you have any ideas on stuff you would like me to review that is streaming or TV adjacent, I'd love to hear them. I'm always looking for more ideas. So if it comes from you, all the better. Is it better? Oh, okay. This is a great question. Is it better to get a non-smart TV and stream with a streaming device, or is a smart TV better? Well, the easy answer to this is good luck finding a non-smart TV these days. I'm trying to think. If you went to Best Buy, Walmart, Target, where else? Whatever, you know, your Costco, go to your big box stores and buy a TV. I would be surprised, but not shocked. I'd be surprised if you found any TVs that weren't smart TVs. And I would be shocked if you found a non-smart TV that was bigger than 32 inches. Does that make any sense? So maybe some of the smaller TVs would still be non-smart TVs, but I think they're going to be pretty tough to come by, if I'm being honest. So, but to answer the question, you know, let's say you have a non-smart TV. You've got an older TV. I know some people are clinging to their plasmas for dear life, right? So you've got a non-smart TV. Is it better to keep to get a non-smart TV and a streaming device, or the smart TV? I'd say it's 6s, honestly. Get the best TV that you feel like you can, the best TV quality, and then get a good streaming device for it. Because the thing is, like I mentioned earlier with all of these devices, most of your streaming devices these days will come with TV controls, except for the very cheapest ones. But yeah, as long as you've got a streaming device with TV controls on the remote, then you're going to be just fine hooking the streaming device into the non-smart TV and then controlling it with the Roku remote or the Fire Stick remote or whatever. So, Dickinson and C are also worth it. I hated Dickinson. Oh gosh, I probably got 2 episodes into that one, and just something about the aesthetic of it, I did not care for it. But I loved C. If you can see these behind me, I'm an epic fantasy reader. And so I got like Brandon Sanderson over here, Tolkien over here. And so I'm used to very long form storytelling, you know, waiting a while for things to get going, a lot of world building, that sort of thing. And C is very much that way. It's like playing a really long video game or reading a very long book or book series. And so, yeah, I really liked C, even though it got pretty poor reviews, I think, in season 1, but I didn't care. I really liked it. Oh yeah, that's right. LG has WebOS. It does not have my favorite operating system. I'm with you there. They really need to either put more time and effort into it or contract with Google TV or something. All right. So let's call it there, everybody. Thank you again for joining me this week. Really glad to have you here. Once again, I will be out next week. I am going to be traveling. So I get back, let's see, was it the 20th? Friday the 20th, I should be back. I think I land on the 19th, but I'm not sure what time or what state I'm going to be in. So I'm going to aim to be back on the 20th. That's 2 weeks from today. And I will enjoy chatting with you all then. But let's see. Oops. There we go. I think what Maggie's asking, is it better to have Roku Fire built in or not? It's sixes, honestly. It really is. Doesn't matter. Okay. So anyway, sorry, that sidetracked me again. Thanks everybody. And Pepe, and have fun reading Tolkien, and I will see you all in a couple of weeks. All right. So happy streaming, and enjoy your week.